in our usual Tuesday spot with one of the best, Matthew Hasselbeck, joining us on Colts Cam. How are you, Matthew?
I'm great. Hey, I'm looking forward to that Unbroken movie. It was a great book.
You read what'd you think?
Oh, great book. I think Laura Hillebrand wrote the book.
Yep.
She also wrote the book Seabiscuit. A great read. I read it over Memorial Day one time. It was a great Memorial Day read.
Yeah,
Louis Zamperini, who, as you may or may not know, went to USC, has an amazing life story, a great athlete. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that film.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to chatting with Jack O'Connell, who's going to be joining me here in a moment on the Rich Eisen Show. In studio right now, I'm on Colts Cam with Matthew Hasselbeck of the Colts off of a hard-fought win in Cleveland. And I want to ask you about your teammate, Andrew Luck. Matthew, obviously you're with him all the time. You see how he prepares. You see how he reacts to things in a game. And it's like we as fans and observers have come to expect what we see from him. And, you know, he's a human being like everybody else. And it just always seems that when he gets down on the scoreboard or he's hit, it just rolls off his back. Does it roll off his back, or do you have to go over to him and sort of, you know, pat him on the back and give him an attaboy and see what is it like, Matthew, from your seat?
No, he's solid. He's what you look for in a franchise quarterback. He's unflappable. He doesn't flinch when things go bad or when there's turmoil or just tough times around him. You know, I give a lot of credit to Clyde Christensen, our quarterback coach. He gave a great talk to us the night before the game. Clyde spent some time overseas on a U.S. destroyer, and he got to sit up front in the captain's chair. And he said, hey, you play a captain's chair position. There's all these people working, doing all this hard work. We need you to be calm and methodical and very driven and focused, but at the same time, there's all this junk going on around you, and we need you focused. We need you to, you know, we had a tough day. He had a fumble that resulted in a touchdown. He had a pick six that resulted in a touchdown. But I think it was just that mindset. Hey, I'm just gonna be me, and I'm gonna really understand that I've got a big job here. I've got a lot of different moving parts, and the team's gonna need me. And he came back on that long drive to, you know, I think it was a 1-yard touchdown pass to win the game. And really, that's the difference in this league between winning and losing. Someone steps up and makes a play when you need him to near the end of the game. Andrew's done that every year of his career.
Well, coaching is one thing for sure. It definitely helps to have something in your DNA. You know, and we all know Oliver Luck played in this league, and he's been around football forever. Your dad, speaking as a guy who's has it in his DNA as well, blocked, was it a field goal or an extra point in the Super Bowl for Don? Which one was that?
That was an extra point, but
okay.
that kept the over under where it was. I remember a lot of gamblers were either happy or upset. I'm not sure which, but
that's a factor.
That was the Los Angeles Raiders Super Bowl 18. Yeah, big factor.
But what does it matter to have that DNA though in your position playing quarterback in the NFL to have a dad who's been there and to be around a game for as long?
Well, I do think there are some advantages. Obviously, you know, nobody cares what your dad did when you were growing up. But I think it does have advantages being around locker rooms, understanding what some non-negotiables are. You know, just how you treat teammates, how you work in a locker room, how you're unselfish, how you handle coaching, whether it be my dad or Andrew's dad or anybody else's dad. Like, you know, they've been cut, they've been traded, they've played hurt, they've been benched when they thought they should be starting, they've been starting when they probably shouldn't have been. They've, you know, just dealt with all these different situations that a lot of us who get to play professional sports as a living, you know, we go through these tough situations where you're under a microscope, probably even more so now than ever, just with all the different media outlets and social media and, you know, playing a quarterback position. There's so much put on the quarterback's shoulders, whether it's on this team or around the league. Just some non-negotiables in terms of, you know, how you approach your day as a pro each and every week. I think there's just some good value in that stuff.
And you don't need to have a parent in the business or to have a coach to know. Certainly this week you look out for number 99 when you got J.J. Watt coming into your house. How do you, Matthew Hasselbeck, how does one prepare for a guy who does all the things that he does?
Well, he's a great player and he's having a great year. You know, one thing as a quarterback, you really don't get too caught up in defensive linemen. You got to trust that the guys in front of you, your coaching staff, they're going to scheme things well for the guys in front of you to take care of great pass rushers, whether it's an outside defensive end or it's an inside guy like J.J. Watt, number 99. Everybody knows him. My kids are fans of his. I mean, it's just one of those things. He's a great personality, a great player. He plays offense and defense. They're using him kind of in that Mike Vrabel role. No surprise since Mike Vrabel's coaching on their defensive staff. So I think it's good for football. I think it's exciting for fans. But as a quarterback, you really can't get too caught up in that. You got to be dialed into their cornerbacks, their safeties, and really what Romeo Crennel is going to be planning to do that day.
Did you see what the Rams did for the coin toss in D.C. this week, Matthew?
I did. I certainly did.
What'd you think of that?
You know, it doesn't surprise me. I think when I hear Jeff Fisher as a coach, you know, I followed him in Tennessee. He was there. Players just love playing for the guy. I mean, he finds creative ways to motivate the guys. This is the kind of thing that I think a locker room loves. They enjoy it. You know, they think, wow, our coach is cooler than your coach. Our coach does stuff like that. You know, we played in Cleveland this past week. You know, our captains were DeQuell Jackson was a captain. Mike Adams, our safety, who had an interception, was a captain. Trent Richardson. You know, guys that were former Cleveland Browns. There's something about going to the coin toss, seeing your old friends, more a sign of respect than anything. But Jeff Fisher just seems like one of those guys that does fun things for his guys. You know, hearing the pranks that he plays, you know, on his own team or on his own coaches. I certainly don't have a problem with it. I think it's a pretty fun thing. Last
question for you, Matthew Hasselbeck. Favre went back to Green Bay, and I know that's how you got your start when Holmgren plucked you. Put you in there with Favre. What's your memory when you hear Brett Favre going back to Green Bay, Matthew?
Yeah, there's just so much history and tradition in Green Bay. It's just an awesome place to play. And I believe he went back because Bart Starr was being honored. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I remember actually I was on the practice squad. I was at a golf tournament that Brett was hosting. And it was really, really early in the morning. It was dark. There was this older gentleman waiting for the elevator. And I'm on the practice squad. And I'm like, oh, I'm tired. I really don't want to say hi to anybody. But you know what? This guy's probably a Packer fan. I'm going to... probably should just say hello. Probably be a thrill for this guy to meet a Packer player, even though I'm just on the practice squad. So I was like, "Hey, how you doing? Good morning. You know, my name's Matt Hasselbeck." And he was like, "Oh, good to meet you, Matt. Bart Starr." I was like,
"Nice."
Oh, I'm so embarrassed. This is unbelievable. So I think that was probably one of the. I think one of the most starstruck moments I've ever had as a player, as a person, meeting Bart Starr and knowing who he was as a player, but also getting to know him as a person. Just a ton of respect for him, for Brett, for Aaron, all the guys that have played so well there in Green Bay.
No doubt. I mean, be able to say on your resume, by the way, I was MVP of Super Bowls 1 and 2. That's like saying I landed on the moon. You know, think about that.
That's good. That's good. If you're ever at a dinner party and you're trying to one-up someone, you know, if you have landing on the moon, that's pretty good. But I think Bart Starr might have everybody else.
Fantastic. Before I let you go, our poll question, because Kate and William were at the Nets-Cavs game. I turn it over to the lost Hasselbeck to read out the questions for Matthew. Go for it.
Hey, Matthew, looking handsome as always.
Nice.
Just wanted to know
thanks, Chris.
Who your favorite Royal of all time is. Is it Kate Middleton? Is it Royals Hall of Fame third baseman George Brett? Is it LeBron James, known as King James? Is it Eddie Royal of the San Diego Chargers?
I go with.
Wait, one more. Or is it Khaleesi, the mother of dragons, who has that Targaryen blood inside of her?
Yeah, I'm going to go with my wife's friend, Kate Middleton. My wife would be very upset with me if I didn't say Princess Kate. Yeah.
What do you mean your wife's friend? What do you mean by that?
BFFs.
Like Romo and Witten?
Yeah, good friends. Well, maybe not that tight.
Okay, very good. All right, Matthew, you take care. We'll chat next week.
You know, I gotta say, Brock, before I lost my hair, I kind of looked like Prince William there. It was kind of what it looked like when I was hanging on.
That's what I'm saying.
Just,
Look,
you know,
you just make a
before I let it
decision and
go.
you go with it. It's out of your hands. You play the hand you're dealt.
I haven't seen. I haven't seen Brockman like when he was still hanging on though. That's the.
We got a couple photos.
Those pictures are
we have
long
some
gone.
photos.
Like
Matthew, take care, bud.
all right. Well,
Thanks.
we'll dig him up.
Thanks.
You bet.
Thanks,
That's
guys.
Matthew Hasselbeck
See you,
joining
buddy.
us on Colts Cam.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.